talking a little bit about the lineage. So this is not something we can find on the internet or even literatures, very rare, because it's called a hidden or mystic lineage. Therefore, there are lots of confusions, misunderstanding, ambiguities. That's why it's so important to have our own practice. Then we taste through our own practice. That's our kind of Darkening Whispers approach. We haven't presented from the beginning all the detail about what this lineage called the Ear Whisper lineage is about. I mentioned a little bit because that's only I know from my teachers or the histories here and there, fragmentary information I received from my teachers based on the oral instructions. So, yeah, we cannot find the definitive history and the lineage masters. We have one book, like book club. We'll read that one. That is great. And other than that, not much. So far, we've been practicing based on this lineage. This kind of thing is related tantra. We cannot do by ourselves, our own. Maybe we are trying to do that. I can get a book and just do what the book tells us what to do. So completely different approach we take. We are talking about a paradigm shift here. If we bring this like learning, studying in high school or even college, that sort of approach, if we bring to this kind of traditions, it's doomed to fail. Everything will unfold. When time comes, everything will reveal. Tantra reveals itself to you when we prepare. So don't worry too much about, I have to know about what this Ganden Ear Whisper lineage is about. Those things, through your direct experience, you started to smell, you can taste it. So just relax a little bit. Having said that, I talk a little bit about what His Holiness stand. This is His Holiness lineage, but this is a tantric lineage, related tantra. That's why His Holiness, when he does the public teaching, he really emphasizes compassion, emptiness, those things. But behind that, that the lineage is this Ear Whisper lineage, which comes from Manjushri. Manjushri transmitted to the Lama Tsongkhapa, then through Lama Tsongkhapa, or the Jambe Gyatso, first Ear Whisper lineage disciple. Right? I wanted to share one short fragmental translation, this Ganden hearing lineage, or Ganden Ear Whisper lineage, Ganden oral tradition, all the same word, Ganden Nyingyu, the mystic Ganden hearing lineage, a clarification. Then part of that, he was quoting this Ganden hearing teaching, one of the holder of this hearing lineage called Kachen Yeshe Gyaltsen. He's very famous. Then he said that Gyaltsen Kappa made limitless outer, inner, secret, and suchness offering to protect the Manjushri, and made extraordinarily powerful request, whereby Manjushri bestowed a complete set of oral instructions of the hearing lineage on the complete body of the path, both the sutra and the tantra. So that's the one we are tasting. Some of the drops we are drinking or tasting. This one. So Lama Tsongkhapa made a huge offering to Manjushri, like we did Mandala Shoto in our level, we made it. And then Manjushri gave all the transmission of the complete set of oral instruction of both sutra and tantra. Why complete set? Complete in a sense that leads to awakening, tantric awakening. Then he said, at that time, Tsongkhapa made a request to Manjushri by inquiring, so asking, what is the absolute quickest method for progressing to the state of Vajradhara? So Vajradhara is the Vajra holder, which is the tantric awakening we are talking about, tantric union state. Lama Tsongkhapa asked Manjushri. Then Manjushri said, you must take as the life of the path this very yoga where the guru and deity are inseparable. Also, not everybody is capable of being a guru or teacher or lama, for they must be able to lead one through the entire path. Say three aspects or three branches, you can say. One is Ganden Ear Whisper lineage of the Guru Yoga. Second is Ganden Ear Whisper lineage of Mahamudra. And the third is Ganden Ear Whisper lineage of Cho. So in our community, we practice all of them. But in terms of Guru Yoga, Lama Tsongkhapa's Guru Yoga, Ganden Hagyama, so that one. They elaborated more extensive, beautiful tantric Guru Yoga is called Lama Chopa, offering to Lama. So that one, hopefully, in the future, we can practice. It has a beautiful melody, so much blessing in it. But anyway, so that's Guru Yoga and the Mahamudra, which we practice, and then Chu, we practice. So those three flavors or aspects. The importance of the combining all this, the Idan deities and the Lama, lineage Lama, inseparable, then practice. Then said, Manjushri bestowed upon Je Rinpoche, that's another name for Lama Tsongkhapa, and the Tupchen Jambe Gyatso, that's the first Ear Whisper disciple of Lama Tsongkhapa, both of them. As well as a few fortunate gods, the complete oral instruction of the hearing lineage, together with the great emanation scripture. So this is a very mystical scripture called emanation or miraculous scripture. It's called. So that's just a fragmental information. Little bit, maybe you can get a taste of that. And His Holiness talks here. One must fervently pray to the Guru by taking the Guru Yoga practice as the life of the path. Through this practice and the path, one can actualize the pure illusionary body and the meaning clear light. So we are talking about the tantric enlightenment here. So the factor that lead to practitioner to resultant Buddhahood. Yeah, Ganden Ear Whisper lineage is leading to the tantric practice, but in our level, we integrate into our daily life from the 21st century point of view without distorting or without watering down the essence of this lineage, which has been transmitted up to this point, up to our teachers. Now our turn to really, what does that mean to take or hold this lineage, carry this lineage in a meaningful way in 21st century as a practitioner, as a spiritual who have a deep yearning, deep longing, which I trust you have. So that's something I'd like to explore today. I think it's important and always nice to come back this way. Today is August 1st. We passed the half of the year. Last year was very difficult, but at the same time, last year was our year as well. Transforming the adversity, how we can bring the adversity or challenges in personal life and the global level onto the path. So that we have been doing, really emphasizing and looking at our own shadow. All these shadow gods and demons came up. Did you notice that? Then we did our best to try to transform, look at it, without ignoring or try to push away or without being or getting caught by it and drowning it. We did that. Then now, this year, now half August, pandemic is still going on, but people started to go out and kind of try to so-called go back to the place where we are. But in fact, we never be able to. We don't want to actually. We don't want to go back to the where we are.
Well, we'd like to hear just a little bit more about the sort of the difference or how the Ganden ear whisper tradition and the Machik.
So you can say Machik ear whisper lineage, which we will dive into. And that is more directly coming from Machik. And that is, it's not completely separated from Ganden, but that is not the transmission from Manjushri. Always near lineage means somebody, in this case, Machik Dakini ear whisper lineage, this master called Choin Rando has a vision or the communicated with Magic Lapton. Then that Magic Lapton transmitted to him Magic's lineage. Then he transmitted one by one. Then came to my teacher. So my teacher held both Ganden ear whisper lineage of Cho, Magic ear whisper lineage of Cho, both. Then that's transmitted. Then in terms of Magic ear whisper lineage, it's called Dakini ear whisper lineage. It's very rare. And that's the one, especially His Holiness is so enthusiastic about preserving actually literally. So this is a very precious lineage. But for that, step by step, Ganden lineage, that's the common empowerment, show empowerment. Then next one is uncommon. That is the introduction to Machik Dakini ear whisper lineage. So that is really wondering yogis and yoginis lineage. It started with the 7-night retreat, eventually going to the Tomanamo Black Dakini practice and 108 spring retreats and so forth.
When you said there was the Guru Yoga, the Mahamudra, and the Cho. So
always the same thing. Essence is completely same. Just the method, skillful means a little bit different. So some people really like us. Many of you are drawn to the Cho, then came to the Dakini's whisper. But some of you are drawn to Mahamudra, direct awareness practice, then came here. And some might be very interesting Vajrayana practice, which involve the Guru Yoga. That the Guru Yoga is the basis of Vajrayana practice. Then came. So those different doors, but the essence is the same. Does that make sense? Yeah, don't think too much about it. But then what's your experience? So what you're drawn to? Why you came to Dakini's whisper? What attracts you? That's why you're here, no? You don't want to waste the time. Just ask your questions, not asking me questions. Ask yourself, what am I interested in? What attracts me to be here? Each of you can do. How does Vajra Yogini fits into our theme of Dakini's whisper and the ear whisper lineage? So this is the ear whisper lineage. When Dhamma Tsongkhapa received the instruction from Manjushri, originally Manjushri talks about the 3 deities. Those deities are very difficult. In order to accomplish, we are talking about Idan deity as a method to bring us to the awakening, right here, right now, and this lifetime, with this body that we are talking about. So very difficult. Then in the early 20th century, Paponka Rinpoche really bring up this secret lineage of Vajra Yogini, which originally came from Naropa, and then Pantimpa, Nepali Vajra Yogini practitioner, very holy, pure lineage. Until the Gelu master received this lineage from Sakya teacher, it was locked in the monastery, and nobody was able to see it until some momentum comes. But now this powerful practice, simple, concise, effective, perfect for the modern practitioner like us, effective in terms of many things. This is a ear whisper lineage and the secret transmission. We started to practice this authentic practice, which is powerful and effective to bring us to the tantric enlightenment. Vajra Yogini path is a traditional path and authentic path. None of path is watering down the essence of the traditional or whatever. This is a tradition. What important thing is each of us as a practitioner, how we can bring this kind of practice onto a path, integrate into our daily life. So that is the question. We somehow cause and condition came together and brought us here, and we met the lineage, and we met lineage masters and the teachings and practice. Now what? We each of us, the one who really integrate into our daily practice and the life. I always emphasize human life, spiritual life, same on the cushion practice, off the cushion practice. We have to be the same, seamless, like transparent. So no pretense here. Try to sit and try to be whole. We are not trying to become a good girl or a good boy. That's not what we are trying to do. We want to wake up.
Before, it might be helpful just briefly to talk about the difference between like the are they called the schools, the Gelug, Sakya, Nyingma, Kagyu, and then the different traditions or lineages?
I talked quite a bit because that's the kind of almost premise of the Vajrayana practice. Lineage is different from the school. School is that we have this idea about school. Gelug, Kagyu, Sakya, Nyingma, all have this. Right? Lineage is a live transmission which entail all the realization of the masters, body of the scripture, body of the teaching, and the body of the oral instructions, everything in that. So this is like a river. I like to use metaphor of a river. Then at some point of the river, we met that river. Maybe some of you are just standing on the side or bank of the river and looking at the river, but some of you already swimming in that river. So that's different from the Gelug or the Kagyu school. Each school might have the different lineage based on the different deities. That's as briefly as I can say. So one of the pitfalls we have in the West, because this idea of the lineage, we don't have much. And so it's easy to stereotype the thing, all this. So then I choose my school. I want to belong to Nyingma because it looks so cool, more yogic kind of. So I practice Dzogchen, or I like studying. I like to be more intellectual, rational thinking. So I need to convince. So I'm gonna study the Gelug system or Gelug tradition or something like that. That's not a good motivation, I think. Each school have those two aspects, yogic aspect and the scholastic aspect. Look at the Longchenpa, so much scripture to study and understand, deep understand, intellectual understand, combined with the yogic method. All scholars are yogis and yoginis. That's the difference from the Western idea of scholastic or the academic traditions or the meditator, or those nothing to do with thinking. Both need to be integrated. So in this Ear Whisper lineage, so beautiful marriage of yogic wandering tradition based on this foundation, the foundational teaching of the Ramrim. So those are important because then we have a certainty. We can convince us, if come to the certainty through analytical meditation, deep understanding. I will encourage each of you to decide or come to understand by maybe watching His Holiness, how His Holiness teaches. That's the best thing instead of listening to me. Because I'm a follower. At least from my side, I'm following his footsteps. So His Holiness, whenever he talks about love, compassion, then bring up emptiness, importance of understanding emptiness. Because that's the one who really cut through the root of samsara, root of suffering. Then whenever he talks about all the philosophical text, emptiness, and then he talks about compassion. So this union of compassion and emptiness, union of wisdom and dependent arising. So I really encourage you to listen to His Holiness if you have a chance, and how he integrates, he embodies. So then we don't have a conflict either scholar or yogi, or there's no conflict there. Everybody wants happiness, everybody don't want suffering. That's the fundamental premise or the things, From there, all these skillful method arise.